Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, December 6th, 2022, after 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Many things we'll be discussing. When I grip the wheel too tight, I find I lose control. Steve Rapson. A lot of us in this life, I don't know if, I think maybe most people have experienced the fact that you might be driving in a snowstorm or something and you don't realize it, but you're gripping onto that steering wheel so tight. It's what we call white knuckling. We're gripping onto something so tight. And a lot of us do that in this life. The reason is because the mind is always thinking. That's its job. It's always planning and pretending, hoping and wishing, pondering and probing, dreaming and scheming, and yearning for more. Basically, 99% of the time, our minds are busy capturing data and processing it, assimilating and creating new information. It's extremely occupied trying to make sense of all this data and learn what it needs to know so we can become, do, have, whatever. You desire. The mind is necessary to have an experience in the body. It is vital for our survival, yet it doesn't know how to stop thinking and discover a permanent state of bliss within. The mind is indeed an awe-inspiring, analyzing machine that functions, you might as well say it's a computer, the mind. Now, the mind can process, assimilate, and imagine anything if given enough time. You could even figure out Einstein's mathematical equations to space, time, if you had a few decades and a burning desire. And yet, with all its amazing power, there is one thing that the mind cannot provide for you, and that is everlasting inner peace. The mind is useless when it comes to discovering the eternal spiritual source of joy, love, and satisfaction, which is always at our core. Now, a really interesting thing about the mind is that it only exists, and I emphasize it only exists, in the past or the future. It only knows yesterday and tomorrow. The mind simply cannot exist in the now, where peace resides. It spends all of its time in the future or the past. It is incapable of remaining in a state of peace because all its yearning, striving, and efforting to arrive there just creates more feelings of lacking peacefulness. It is always trying to get somewhere other than here now. It is always wondering what's going to happen next, or processing what has just happened. We dare you to try to keep your mind present in the now for this moment. Try it just for a few moments right now. Let the mind reside only in the now and see what happens. Focus on your breathing. Listen to your breathing. You move into the now. That simple. No matter how many times the ego mind tries to take you out of the now, focus on the breath. Listen to the breath. Listen to the natural rhythm of the breath. Now, what did you notice? Did life suddenly become more peaceful? You may have caught a glimpse at the crazy life that manifests from living in a mind that is continuously obsessed with past and future, all day long, all year long, all lifetime long. With the mind in charge, we can never find peace. The mind never stops to rest in the now because it would lose its job. It operates from the perspective that the now is not okay in some way, and thus it must always improve or change it. This is the exact opposite of the energy of inner peace, which stems from a deep knowing that everything is always perfect in the entire universe in this simple, sweet moment. Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you were truly free from the mind? What would even one day be like for you? Imagine that day is today. Birds are singing, breeze is blowing, and you're able to hear, smell, and feel the beauty of it all. Now, of course, you could hear what the mind was saying if you paid attention to it. Yet, you choose instead to observe it and not get caught in its entangling dramas. Being the divine witness, watching it all from a higher perspective, we find peace by dropping the mind. True peace is a state of no mind. True peace is a state of no mind. We can either choose peace or mind. We can either choose peace or mind. And peace of mind occurs only when there is no mind. It is absolutely essential for us to know our minds so that we can transcend them. We need to understand how to let go of our minds so that we can find peace in any moment of our lives. And you start with trusting the process of letting it go. Trust that you are on the path to finding total freedom from the constant chit-chat in the mind. Now this choice is the first step on an infinite journey. The second step is knowing that your mind is connected to an infinite, divine intelligence that is always leading you towards enlightenment, even if it doesn't look that way. The third step is to imagine what it feels like to be free from your past future, all your desires, inhibitions, fears, doubts, worries, and expectations. Absolutely. Imagination is employing the mind, of course, yet what other tool do we have to use to free ourselves from its grasp on us? So keep imagining what it feels like to infinitely dive into a permanent feeling of freedom. Once you can imagine this and hold this thought for several minutes, the real deal will soon follow and find you. So keep imagining what it feels like to infinitely dive into a permanent feeling of freedom. And once you can imagine this and hold this thought for several minutes, the real deal will soon follow and find you. Ultimately, we do need to use the mind to drop the mind. Use the mind to drop the mind. To find total freedom in this life, the mind has to step down from its pedestal and get out of our way. Yet, who is going to coax it to step down? You are. And this decision to choose freedom over everything is the key. You'll soon find something amazing inside you when the mind surrenders and you turn inwards towards the divine spirit that you already are. So relax. Bask in the light of this eternal, peaceful experience of pure being. Once you realize that this is available in each millisecond, following your daily mind chatter is the last thing you're drawn to do. The mind is awfully interesting and yet the major block in the way to finding true freedom. When we drop all of our attachments to it, we begin awakening to a much bigger reality that goes way beyond the walls of what is inside and outside of ourselves. When we deeply realize that who we are is not our minds, nor our thoughts, nor our emotions, nor our bodies, then the awakening process begins. Start with finding the silence between each thought, the space between ideas. Speaks to us in a way that goes beyond what can be spoken. By listening to this gap between words, this ordinary life suddenly becomes very profound and meaningful. It is only in this space of silence that we will find total freedom and the constant flowing river of peacefulness. We can see that the mind cannot exist in silence. The mind cannot exist in the spacious infinite universe that is everywhere now. If and when you want to rid yourself of the constant struggle of thoughts and negative emotions in your lives, keep surrendering to this silence. Once you find this silence, the mind relaxes and you discover the foundation of your very being. Once you confine yourself to this present moment, core, essential, foundational presence, your entire life is instantly healed and enlightened. When the mind disappears into the profound silence of the now moment, we also will discover that we don't really exist. The personality construct fades into the background, merging with the millions of other ideas. We soon will begin to know ourselves as this profound silence and realize we are this infinite, timeless essence that is always present no matter what crazy thoughts abound. Even when the cacophony of your mind feels almost deafening, this silence of pure beingness continues to permeate everything. The more we allow our mind to quiet, the more we can tap into this ever-deepening peaceful energy that is our true nature. We are naturally this vast, calm reservoir of silence. Even when our minds cause ripples on the surface of this lake, the stillness at the core of our being is never touched. Even when our minds cause ripples on the surface of this lake, the stillness at the core of our being is never touched. So for the next handful of days, let's just say for the next 7 days, spend as much time as you can every morning when you wake up and every evening before you sleep, diving into the gap between your thoughts. It's there with every one of us. Diving into the gap between your thoughts. Rest deeply into the silence you'll find between each word. Simply close your eyes, focus on the space that exists between each thought. Notice that in this space between your thoughts, there is only pure consciousness. Relax into this consciousness. If your mind gets busy, which it will, this space will be a very tight, small gap. Gently return to relaxing the body and diving into the space again and again and again. Space will expand these tiny spaces eventually, and the mind will slow down and the space will expand. And you will one day find this amazing, ultimate freedom from the mind. Just keep surrendering to the process. It is a big one. And know that the result is an ultimate freedom from all suffering that will make the rest of your life a living bliss. So one might say that we are in these bodies to discover that we don't need these bodies. And through the whole process of it, we discover the gods that we are within the body, and we discover that the body is like a suit. You wear it for a period of time, then you shed it. And this is the transformation of humanity, to go from fear, mind and ego controlled, to peace, bliss, joy in the now. To master the mind and the ego, which are both illusions created for the very purpose of us mastering them. Unfortunately for many, this contains thousands of lifetimes, because we are so geared in when we enter these bodies to out there. We are geared into out there, not in here. Every tomorrow has two handles. We can take hold of it with the handle of anxiety or the handle of faith. Henry Ward Beecher. The number one hurdle or mountain, however you want to view it, that all of us have is to become stress-free permanently. Stress-free beings are ordinary people like us. Yet they have adopted a variety of different ways of seeing, interpreting, and understanding this world that allows them to fully live in this world, yet not get caught in its drama. This is huge. Okay? Stress-free beings are ordinary people like us. Yet we have adopted a variety of different ways of seeing, interpreting, and understanding this world that allows us to fully live in this world, yet not get caught in its drama. The beings who are always relaxed inside, free from any kind of stress, have a constant expanding perception of themselves. They know no limits to what is possible. They also know no destination other than now. They experience no hesitation, procrastination, or postponement of their lives because life is too juicy being here now. A stress-free being loves life too much to be stressed out about it. A stress-free being loves life, this life, too much to be stressed out about it. Their mind does not get stuck on judgments of themselves or others and releases them the instant they arise. They have no resistance to life's multidimensional barrage of experiences. Thus, they hold no tension in their body's nervous system. Any stressful constrictions of blood vessels caused by adrenaline rushes, doubt, fear, or anger are instantly released so they can dive deeper into more experiences of joy, love, and freedom. They simply have their priorities straight. A stress-free being isn't trying to avoid an early death because they are too consumed with loving life, enjoying the illusion of it all, and having a great time all the way to the grave. They know that everything is always going to change, and they trust they are always guided in this constant changing flow of life. When they connect with other people, they know it may be their last moments together, and yet are relaxed because they understand that everyone is an infinite being who will never, ever, ever, ever die. Because this wisdom circulates in their thoughts, emotions, and physical bodies, they are constantly tapped into a perpetual flow of bliss within themselves. Stress-free people have learned one key technique. This, that stress is the number one signal from the body to stop whatever they are doing and let it all go. Stress is the number one signal from the body to stop whatever they are doing and let it all go. They know avoidance strategies don't work. And to ignore this signal and keep going will only cause future pain. They only want to transcend the mental prison of their ego's agenda, even though they have practiced the art of letting go and releasing for years. They always consider themselves to be a student. They're always learning. They've truly come around to embracing their own innocence. They can see and feel that within the innermost core is this pure being. They know this is the simple ecstasy everyone is seeking. People who embrace a stress-free way of life have very playful energy. This entire universe is their playground. They play with all kinds of people from all walks and worlds. They also welcome any experience they come in contact with. They know how to easily handle any negative thoughts that arise in the mind. They never take these negative things too seriously and choose instead a playful approach on the inner world as well as the outer. A stress-free being resists nothing. When negative feelings and a grumpy state enters the mind, they invite it in openly and experience the pattern it's holding fully. Everything that occurs in their minds, emotions, body, are welcomed as a guest that is here to visit for a short time. They know the bigger picture of this life, so they can welcome each thought and feeling and not get stuck in them. They see every negative thought as a small water rapid down the infinite river of life. And so they kick back and relish the ride over them. Someone who constantly lives in the stress-free zone has tapped into the truth of their being. They live each moment connected to the truth that they are an infinite being that knows no death. They know the body will come and go, yet who they are cannot be harmed or impacted by the outer world. When we fully embrace this knowing, it is impossible for stress to exist in our world, for we realize that all outer world situations are temporary experiences that cannot touch the beauty and lightness of our being. Realize the truth. Realize the truth, and you will be truly free. We are not this mind, nor these bodies. We are this radiant eternal light that cannot be dimmed in any way, shape, or form. Our true selves continue to shine brightly through all of the adventures of being a human being that the mind may label as stressful. Whatever may cause our minds to feel stressed out is simply the mind being overly attached to a certain limited thought or form. whatever may cause our minds to feel stressed out is simply the mind being overly attached to a certain limited thought or form. When we realize the truth of who we are, the mind has to let go automatically, and we are free. Below, above, around, in, out, totally free. And we practice to quiet our mind. The meditative mind is a divine mind. It is simply being here in the now. It has become so relaxed that it is actually laser focused, pointing towards mindfulness in the now. It is simply being here in the now. It has become so relaxed that it is actually laser focused, pointing towards mindfulness in the now. Every stress-free being will tell you there is no better moment in our lives than this one that is happening right now. Meditation is a way to quiet the mind so you can see that all experiences, negative and positive, are paths for the soul to discover this higher universal source. A quiet mind can hear their intuition clearly. So they can establish deeper connections with everyone in the world and manifest a much more peaceful experience of this life. A quiet mind is much easier to live with than a busy mind. Celebrating what is now in this very moment. Attachment to our past and future is what creates the greatest amount of stress in our lives. Attachment to our past and future is what creates the greatest amount of stress in our lives. Since this moment is the only thing that is real, choose to be constantly celebrating what is happening now. And if or when you are experiencing a problem, celebrate it. That problem will soon be deeply eternal loving in disguise. This life is actually not about overcoming our problems and karma. It is a celebration of all opposites until there is equanimity in the mind and complete balance of emotions, which leads us into total freedom of consciousness. How could the mind know light without shadow, or depth without shallowness? How could it? The mind exists in a state of perpetual ebb and flow of the tides. Celebration of this play is what makes us masters of our lives. Celebration of this play is what makes us masters of our lives. Whatever it is that's happening in your life right now, there is some way you can celebrate it. There is always another door opening where one has closed. Now is that moment that is filled with life's amazing qualities. Just realizing this little secret
will assist you greatly in choosing to see the miraculous instead of the mundane wherever you are. Remembering our infinite nature. As we go through our days, pause regularly to remember this simple truth. We are all eternal beings who will never, never, never die. We are souls in a body who will only change form. We will be reborn again if we want to or not. If we have enough awareness, we can choose to master this existence and then experience anything we want to. As we go through our days, pause regularly to remember this simple truth. We are all eternal beings who will never die. We are souls in a body who will only change form. We will be reborn again if we want to or not. If and when we have enough awareness, we can choose to master this existence. Then experience anything we want to. Right now, most of us are existing without mastering. And then we can experience anything we want to because of that. The infinite quality of our being is obvious and very, very, very real. It is just like the sun, always shining, always bright and super warm. And yet the sun is a grand understatement to describe the brilliance of who we really are. And when we discover the truth enormity, the true enormity inside ourselves, everything will change. And the outer world will no longer impact us in a negative, fearful way. This universe will welcome all of us to explore this limitless divine self everywhere we go on its playground. Now, anytime you start getting stressed out about something, practice celebrating what is. Anytime any of us start getting stressed out about something, practice celebrating what is. Simply say to yourself, I choose to celebrate existence right now. Life is just too good to not make this choice, even if you don't understand why. Look for the deep, eternal love that is hidden behind this so-called problem and celebrate it as an opportunity for growth. It is our chance to quiet our minds, realize our infinite nature. Remind ourselves, when we notice stress arising inside, that we are an infinite being that will not die. Notice what happens. Play with this and welcome all that life challenges you. Our job is to intimately know ourselves as that which is permanent and can never be harmed, hurt, or changed. It's a choice. We choose or we don't. We walk into or we walk out of. It depends on how we view it. It depends on how much the mind has mastered us rather than us mastering it. It depends on how we understand the fact that this stress is no longer your master. You view things from the perspective of embracing all things, especially around this time of year. Great practice we all have put in front of us. Practice, practice, practice being in the now. Understanding that anything that comes your way, celebrate it. You ever notice, you'll notice if you haven't already, is that when that comes, there's a choice, right? So the choice is to let the stress take you down to the dark dungeon, or to let the stress pass through you, where you feel lighter. And the light within you becomes even more brilliant. Can you feel through your heart minds how we have allowed things to master us? This isn't ego talking here. This is heart, mind. It's like whenever your ego mind comes in and floods you with these thoughts, right? You're able to identify it in a loving way. Say, ego mind, you are not in charge here. You don't say it with vengeance, anger, frustration, stress. You say it with deep eternal love. Watch what happens. It will just vanish. Every time the ego mind tries to come back in, your same response. Ego mind, you are not in charge here. Because you're in the now. Okay? You listen to the breath. You celebrate moment to moment. Because that's really all any of us have while we're in these bodies, moment to moment. We really don't have yesterday. We don't have tomorrow. We only really truly have moment to moment. And when we choose to stay in the now, all the stress, anxieties, fears, worries, angers, frustrations vanish. I've had people say, how do you go into the now? Is there a book? Is there a guru that can tell me that I can visit and live with? You don't need any of that. You listen to the breath. You remain silent. You sit in a comfortable position. Listen to the breath. Easy breathing in through the nose, easy breathing out from the mouth. Natural, organic. Listen to your breath. You will always be in the now. It doesn't mean that the ego mind will not try to challenge you by pulling you out, by literally flooding you with all of these thoughts that aren't yours. And they're not. This is how you go through this life and you walk through stress. It doesn't stick to you, right? And you celebrate anything that comes your way. Why do we do this? Because we only have moment to moment. Can you guarantee that you'll wake up in the morning? I don't care what age you are. No, we can't. We really can't. Can you guarantee you will have tomorrow? No. You don't have yesterday, it's already passed. You can always dip in, right? Dip your cup in and pour it through the fingers and reminisce and look at certain things and then move on. Every now and then we do go in past. What is past? It's gone. It's like you're going down the road, you're in your vehicle, right? And you pass another vehicle. And as you go on and go on and go on, that vehicle gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and it disappears. That's the past. The future we don't have. We have the now, which will create the future. This is imperative information that we can embrace and experience over and over and over again. Move ourselves in a form of peace and celebration about this life, that we're actually in these bodies. No matter what's going on around us, and that we deeply, eternally love ourselves, that we are in the deepest gratitude 24/7, and that we're at peace with ourselves and everything that's flowing by. We'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. This moment is your opportunity to embrace your divine existence. Nothing is holding you back. Your skeptical mind is not who you truly are. You simply let it go. The burdens you carry do not exist. They are only the illusions of the mind. Stop thinking, planning, and pretending. It is too much effort to always be doing. Just stop randomly throughout the day today and go directly to the source of who you really are. Forget about everything that you should be. Remain fixed upon what is real and true inside you. Breathe slowly and deeply and release all the heaviest illusions which you get caught in. That way you down every day. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. We will return here December 7, 2022, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call, and 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be good to yourself.